Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare सभी लोग बोलिए हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining Srimad Bhagavatam class and attentive japa. This morning, we are talking about Devahuti, Kapil Muni, Kardama Muni. So the pastimes of Kardama Muni have come to an end now, and we're moving on to Devahuti, Mata, and Kapil Muni, her son, the reincarnation of God, who was taken birth in the house. He has grown up now, and so Kardama Muni has now left for the purpose that he wanted to do for a long time, but because he was given responsibilities, he stayed and fulfilled those responsibilities and the orders of his father. So we'll continue from here. Maitri Muni is telling Vidur, he says that when Kardama left for the forest, Lord Kapila stayed on the strand of the Bindu Srovar to please his mother, Devahuti. When Kapila, who could show her the ultimate goal of the absolute truth, was sitting leisurely before her, Devahuti remembered the words Brahma had spoken to her, and she therefore began to question Kapila. Let's do a quick prayer first of all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Proti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim. Yat Kirpatam Hamande Shri Guru Dim Taranam Pramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tassat Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatu Jayam Udiriyet Nashta Priyesha Udareshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtaki. Hare Krishna. So now Devahuti is going to ask questions to Kapil Muni. He's sitting beside her as her son. She says, I am very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses. For because of this sense disturbance, my Lord, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance. So Srila Prabhupada explains that we are evolving through different statuses of material bodily existence, sometimes in a human body, sometimes in an animal body, and therefore the engagements of our material senses are also changing. All these bodies we're getting, they're not natural for us. We get some, when we look around us, all the creatures and the reptiles and the insects and the trees, these are really not natural for us, but somehow or other we end up becoming one of these, and our senses, mind, they get all confused, and therefore the engagements for material senses are also changing. Anything that changes is called temporary or asat. We should know that beyond these temporary senses are our permanent senses, which are now covered by the material body. The material senses, being contaminated by matter, are not acting properly. Devotional service therefore involves freeing the senses from this contamination. So when the contamination is completely removed and the senses act in the purity of unalloyed Krishna consciousness, we have reached Sat Indriya, or eternal sensory activities. And these are the natural activities for our senses and mind. Internal sensory activities are called devotional service, whereas temporary sensory activities are called sense gratification. Unless one becomes tired of material sense gratification, there is no opportunity to hear transcendental messages from a person like Kapila. So you must be exhausted from this material life. You have no longer any material desires left, and you think there has to be something beyond this. This is, I'm just chewing the chewed. What is the point of all this? So that's when you're ready to take knowledge. And now that her husband, Kardama Muni, had left home, she wanted to get relief by hearing the instructions of Lord Kapil. Now she was ready now that I need to do the right thing now and understand what is beyond this material life. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the origin and Supreme Lord of all living entities. You have arisen to disseminate the rays of the sun in order to dissipate the darkness of the ignorance of the universe. So it's described like that, the light of knowledge, this our Lord can give. Now be pleased, my Lord, to dispel my great delusion. Due to my feelings of false ego, I have been engaged by your Maya and identified myself with the body and consequent bodily relations. The false ego of identifying one's body as oneself and of claiming things possessed in relationship with this body is called Maya. This is what Srila Prabhupada explaining. In Bhagavad-Gita, 15th chapter, Lord says, I'm sitting in everyone's heart, and from me come everyone's remembrance and forgetfulness. So Devahuti has stated that false identification of the body with the self and attachment for possessions in relation to the body is also under the direction of the Lord. So does this mean that the Lord discriminates by engaging one in his devotional service and another in sense gratification? So, how does that work? If that were true, it would be incongruity on the part of the Supreme Lord. But this is not the actual fact. As soon as the living entity forgets his real constitutional position of eternal servitorship to the Lord and wants instead of to enjoy himself by sense gratification, he is automatically captured by Maya. So it's our free will. So when we want to enjoy, the Maya is there to grab us. This capture of Maya is the consciousness of false identification with the body and attachment to the possessions of the body. And this is necessary. If you want to enjoy without Krishna, then this Maya is necessary. Otherwise, you won't be able to enjoy it. Krishna says, enjoy to your heart's content. And the only way you can do it is by being captured by Maya. So these are the activities of Maya. And since Maya is also an agent of the Lord, it is indirectly the action of the Lord. The Lord is merciful. If anyone wants to forget him and enjoy this material world, he gives him full facility, not directly, but through the agency of his material potency. So Krishna has so many energies, so many agencies. Whatever we desire, he arranges the agency to provide for us. And that's also his mercy. Therefore, since the material potency is the Lord's energy, indirectly, it is the Lord who gives the facility to forget him. Devahuti therefore said, my engagement in sense gratification was also due to you. Now kindly get me free from this entanglement. So Devahuti realizes that she is in this contaminated situation. She understands everything. And she also understands that she cannot get out of this contamination by herself. So she's asking her son, Lord Kapil Muni, to help her to get out of this contamination. We can't do it. Krishna explains in chapter 14, 3 modes of nature, that these modes are so strong that you cannot get out of their clutches. You need my help. Only if I allow, then you can escape them. So by the grace of the Lord, one is allowed to enjoy this material world. But when one is disgusted with material enjoyment and is frustrated, and when one is sincerely surrenders onto the lotus feet of the Lord, then the Lord is so kind that he frees one from entanglement. So first you have to demonstrate, yes, you are disgusted by all these razzmatazz, all these material sense gratification, and then surrender to Lord Krishna. He says time after time in Bhagavad-Gita, surrender unto me, and then he will release you. And the same thing is mentioned here. So Krishna therefore says in Bhagavad-Gita, first of all surrender, then I will take charge of you and free you from all reactions of sinful activities. Sinful activities are those activities performed in forgetfulness of our relationship with the Lord. So in this material world, activities for the material enjoyment, which are considered to be pious, are also sinful. So anything that does not involve God is a sinful activity. For example, one sometimes gives something in charity to a needy person with a view to getting back the money 4 times increased. Giving with the purpose of gaining something is called charity in the mode of passion. Everything done here is done in the mode of material nature, and therefore all activities but service to the Lord are sinful. Because of sinful activities, we become attracted by the illusion of material attachment. And we think, I am this body, I think of the body as myself and of bodily possessions as mine. So Devahuti requested Lord Kapil to free her from the entanglement of false identification and false possession. So first we get into the entanglement due to our desires, and then if you're lucky, you'll realize it, and then you try and ask the Lord to get you free from all this. This is what Devahuti is doing right now. So, we would normally say, oh, please explain to us, who am I? Who is God? What is devotional service? What's our relationship? We ask all these things. But Devahuti, she already understands everything. She's in a point where she's saying that I can't release myself from all these attachments. Please free me. She realizes that her endeavor also needs the mercy of the Lord. You cannot just do everything by endeavor, but at the same time, we shouldn't expect just the mercy as well to do, just ask God, please God, just give me your mercy and free me. You have to endeavor as well. You want to release. And then when God sees your endeavor, is strong, then he gives his mercy in the same proportion. So Devahuti continued, I have taken shelter of your lotus feet because you're the only person of whom to take shelter. You're the axe which can cut the tree of material existence. I therefore offer my obeisance unto you, who are the greatest of all transcendentalists. And I inquire from you as to the relation between man and woman and between spirit and matter. And then because she's asking this information for our benefit, in fact, because she knows everything already, because she's always saying, I'm entangled, get me out. Because she knows this is not her natural position. But now she's asking information for our benefit. So Sankhya philosophy is well known, deals with Prakriti and Purusha. Purusha is the Supreme Personality Godhead, or anyone who imitates the Supreme Personality Godhead as an enjoyer. As Prakriti means nature. In this material world, material nature is being exploited by the Purusha, or the living entities. So we are the little Purushas, so to speak. These intricacies in the material world of relationship of the Prakriti or Purusha, or the enjoyed and the enjoyer, is called samsara, or material entanglement. So Devahuti wanted to cut the tree of material entanglement, and she found a suitable weapon in Kapil Muni. So there you go. She knows her situation, but she cannot cut these attachments by herself. The tree of material existence explained in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita as an Ashwat tree, or Ashwat tree, whose root is upwards and whose branches are downwards. It is recommended there that one has to cut the root of this material existential tree with the axe of detachment. What is the attachment? The attachment involves Prakriti and Purusha. The living entities are trying to load it over material nature. Since the conditioned soul takes material nature to be the object of its enjoyment, and he takes the position of the enjoyer. That's why he's called the Purusha. Although we're not Purusha, but because we try to become the enjoyer, then we are described as the Purusha. And this is where the problem is, that we think we are the Purusha, where we're not. Devahuti questioned Kapil Muni, for she knew that only he could cut her attachment to this material world. The living entities in the guises of men and women are trying to enjoy the material energy. Therefore, in one sense, everyone is Purusha, because Purusha means enjoyer, Prakriti means enjoyed. So it's described here. In this material world, both the so-called man and so-called woman are imitating the real Purusha. So Purusha means enjoyer. So if Purush, we say Purush is a man, but Purush here is described, can be man or a woman. Whoever is trying to enjoy the material energy is described here as Purusha. The Supreme Personality Godhead is actually the enjoyer in the transcendental sense, whereas all others are Prakriti. The living entities are considered Prakriti. In Bhagavad-Gita, matter is analyzed as apara, or inferior nature, whereas beyond this inferior nature, there is another superior nature, the living entities. Living entities are also Prakriti, or enjoyed. So we think we're Purusha, but we are not. But under the spell of Maya, the living entities are falsely trying to take the position of enjoyers. That is the cause of samsara bandha, or conditioned life. Devahuti wanted to get out of conditioned life and place herself in full surrender. The purpose of Kapil Dev's Sankhya philosophy is to propagate pure and contaminating devotional service, and therefore he's addressed it as the most important personality amongst those who know the transcendental occupation of the living entity. So Maitreya continues telling this pastime. Maitreya said, after hearing of his mother's uncontaminated desire for transcendental realization, the Lord thanked her within himself for her questions, and thus, his face smiling, he explained the path of transcendentalists who are interested in self-realization. So Kapil Muni is speaking now. He has realized that his mother is sincerely inquiring. She has had enough of this material life. Now that the husband is gone, she doesn't feel that, she doesn't have the will left anymore to continue this material life anyway. And also she's very knowledgeable. She understands what is the true meaning of life, and now she wants to follow that path. Devahuti has surrendered her confession of material entanglement and her desire to gain release. Her questions to Lord Kapil are very interesting for persons who are actually trying to get liberation from material entanglement and attain the perfectional stage of human life. Unless one is interested in understanding his spiritual life or its constitutional position, and unless he also feels inconvenience in material existence, his human form of life is spoiled. So if we feel that we're not happy with this material life, actually in a way it's a boon, that because then we can look at our real position. And unless he also feels inconvenienced material existence, his human form life is spoiled. One who does not care for these transcendental necessities of life and simply engages in, like an animal, in eating, sleeping, faring, and mating, has spoiled his life. So someone who goes through life just enjoying, they think this is what life is all about. We hear people saying that this is what life is all about, and they are actually spoiling their life, this human life. Lord Kapila was very much satisfied by his mother's questions because the answers stimulate one's desire for liberation from the conditioned life of material existence. So the personal Godhead answered, the yoga system which relates to the Lord and the individual soul, which is meant for the ultimate benefit of the living entity and which causes detachment from all happiness and distress in the material world, is the highest yoga system. O most pious mother, I shall now explain unto you the ancient yoga system, which I explained formally to the great sages. It is serviceable and practical in every way. So the Lord does, Srila Prabhupada mentions that the Lord does not manufacture a new system of yoga. So because he's saying that now I'm going to explain to you this yoga that I have explained before. And it's an ancient yoga system, it's nothing new. And Prabhupada says that the Lord does not manufacture a new system of yoga. Sometimes it is claimed that someone has become an incarnation of God and is expounding a new theological aspect of the absolute truth. But here we find that although Kapil Muni is the Lord himself and is capable of manufacturing a new doctrine for his mother, he nevertheless says, I shall just explain the ancient system which I once explained to the great sages, because they were also anxious to hear about it. When we have an excellent process already present in Vedic scriptures, there is no need to concoct a new system to mislead the innocent public. At present, it has become a fashion to reject the standard system and present something bogus in the name of newly invented process of yoga. So this is very, very interesting. Thank you all so much for joining. My father-in-law is there. Welcome. Pata Prabhu, Praveen Mataji, welcome. Prem Prakash Prabhu, Sarvashya Mataji, Vankat Prabhu. Thank you all so much for joining. It's a very, very interesting topic, and explains that, some people say that, oh, these scriptures, they're out of date. Now it's time for something new understanding. This information is out of date. Well, this explains here that this information is never out of date. So God comes back, reincarnates again and again to explain this, remind us of this this knowledge. This knowledge is eternal, it's never out of date, and that is now shown by Kapil Muni. And we will continue this next week as well. More teachings what Kapil Muni will explain to his mother. So thank you so much. Love to hear your points on this, and we'll start with Partha Prabhu. Please, Prabhu, anything you would like to add to this, or some realization?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice points, Prabhuji. I just make some note of some points.
Excellent.
Where you need to demonstrate and surrender, so that it's not just our endeavor, but Lord help should be there to understand the Lord, and we cannot do it by our own. So yesterday I was listening to one lecture on 2.64 Bhagavad-Gita. It was a small boy, like only 13 years old. He gave a class on this 2.64 yesterday, and I just want to read two lines from that, Prabhuji, from 2.64. If Krishna wants, a devotee can do anything which is ordinarily undesirable, and if Krishna does not want, he shall not do that which he would have ordinarily done for his own satisfaction. So here he was saying that Srila Prabhupada endeavor, but Krishna also helped him. Krishna chose him. That is why Srila Prabhupada at that age, normally where the people tend to live at home, but Srila Prabhupada went to abroad and started this, because his endeavor is already there, but at the same time Krishna chose him as well. So if Krishna wants, he can do anything, and Krishna doesn't want, we will not be able to do anything. So that is one point, Prabhuji. And you mentioned that the permanent senses are actually covered by the material body, and when the contamination is removed, our natural activities will come out. So the contamination should be removed. And then the purpose of this philosophy, Kapila philosophy, is to propagate pure, uncontaminated devotional service. That's all, Prabhuji. And on the point of no need to invent a new system, that is where I find, Prabhuji, like people using the WhatsApp, they keep sharing the WhatsApp messages. Mostly they are more sentimental, like either showing the friendship or a relationship between father and mother. They send so many messages, but actually nobody referred to the any of the text from our Vedic scriptures. They just feel from their heart, like looking at the movies, sentimental, and then they keep sending those messages, but they never refer to the scriptures. And that is the main thing which I observed. Like that is one point where we no need to invent any new system. It's already there in Vedic scriptures, and that gives more clarity as well. That's all, Prabhuji.
Wonderful. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Just want to go to Venkat Prabhu, because I know sometime he has to leave. Venkat Prabhu, would you like to say something?
No, Prabhuji. Thanks for your association.
Thank you for joining, Prabhu. That's fine.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Praveen Mataji, would you like to add something? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Nothing to add, Prabhuji. Thank you. Very nice class.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Maybe Sarveshya Mataji?
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Actually.
Few things, my realization, like Lord Krishna, he created us with his internal and external energy. And because he created us, he's given us the instruction and transcendental knowledge how to live in this material world and get out of it. Sometimes he himself come to this material world to give instruction through one of the devotees, just like in Bhagavad-Gita, he gave instruction to Arjuna for us. So in the same way, he came as a Kapil Muni through his internal potency to give transcendental knowledge to Devahuti, his mother, for us. Kapil Muni lived near Bindu Sarovar, where his father, Kardam Muni, did tapasya to the Supreme Lord. So he lived there just to please his mother, just to remind her that the presence of his father. Devahuti was already self-realized person, mother of Kapil Muni. But to show the human being that everybody should approach the spiritual master to learn and to transcendental knowledge and get out of all the ignorance. We are all born ignorant in this world. We've got no knowledge when we are born, but we get knowledge from parents, school teachers, from shastras, and Guru and Stupasaul. And Stupasaul in Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna says that I'm seated in everybody's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness, that what we've done in past life we forget, but Krishna reminds us, he gives the instruction, he gives us the knowledge. And then they have these, she wanted to get off this world. She seen her husband going in the forest, and I think she wanted to follow the same thing. She was already self-realized soul, but she wanted to get out of this material ignorance and Maya, which is temporary, and people think the world is for reality, and then to control the mind and senses and desires. Because these things, these are the obstacles to our progress in devotional service. And so we can't attain the Supreme Lord. So she wanted to know the activities of the Supreme Personality of God, that Katha was hearing. You can clean your mind, you can clean your heart, you can put your mind to Krishna. When you think of a spiritual thing, then you forget the material. But if you were in the other way around, if you don't have a spiritual life, then you all the time you are got material life. But you can't, you have to, if you have to leave to get another one. The more you hear about Krishna, the more you hear about the devotees, and that's what she wanted to hear. She wanted to clean her mind and put her mind to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mary. Yes, thank you. Absolutely. So desires and everything, and our sincere, you have to be sincere with our when we are approaching Krishna, and he knows he's sitting in the heart, so he knows how sincere we are. And this is why sometimes it takes time, especially in Krishna consciousness, it takes a long time, because Krishna wants to see how serious we are. Are we, is it just a fad, or we've seen some other people do this and then we want to follow the same thing? It's human nature. We see something and we get very interested, and then after a little time we move on to something else. So Krishna wants to see that we are really serious. It's not shadow bhav we are having, it's real bhav that we have for him. And then it definitely helps our endeavor, and it takes time. It takes a lot of sincere effort to get to that point, but we have to be strong in our endeavor, and Krishna sees that endeavor, and then he gives his mercy. Without his mercy, we can't really progress after a certain amount. We want to move forward, then we need his help. When people join Krishna consciousness, they are so excited, and there's so much bliss, and there is so much enthusiasm, because Krishna is giving that. He's showing that this is what it's all about. He gives us a taste, but then he takes it away, because now he wants to see that if we are sincere or not. Are we just there just for the taste, because we're enjoying it, and that's another form of sense gratification, isn't it? We are there just to enjoy it, because we're enjoying, we are there. But what about, he says, if I take the taste away, are you still here, or have you left? And a lot of people do leave. They think, oh, this is too much for me. Maybe I'm not in this life, maybe next life. And they've probably been saying that for every life, probably said that last life and the life before. So Prabhupada says, just give one life, and this is the life, because this is the life you don't know your past lives, you don't know your future life, whether you get human life. You know this life because it's there. So give this life to Krishna. That's all he asks. Thank you so much. Anybody?
Maya actually is, when we could talk about Maya, we say spirit is temporary. But what actually Maya is, it's when the spirit is covered by material, then it's like a spirit covered by material, like water, fire, either, and air. Like we've got a soul, and our body is made of material, like 5 tattva. And then it covers the soul. That's what is temporary. Then we just think that everything is permanent. So it's called, that is what is Maya. It's the material nature covers the spiritual nature. That's definition given by Prabhupada in the Bhagavad-Gita. When that's why it's temporary, we forget that it's temporary, because we cover the soul with our 5 elements, our body made of. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. We put under illusion by the Maya, and we start thinking that we are this body. And most of the world, that's how they think. Thank you so much. Prem Prakash Prabhu, Hare Krishna. I think Prabhu managed to disconnect. Going back. Okay, let's see. Anyway, while we wait for Prabhu, this Sunday, we have our face-to-face Sunday Sangha with Holiness Janardhan Maharaj is coming. So please all join at the War Memorial Hall in Great Park. Prabhu, you back? Very good.
I don't know what happened. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Pranam. It's a wonderful class, and it's actually setting up a mood, basically, to understand that how first thing is to surrender, and then it's to inquire. So, I mean, having a desire to know more, understanding our position, surrender, and then reciprocative to whatever knowledge we are receiving. So the basic principle is actually demonstrated by Devahuti Mataji, and it is really exemplary because this is a very sick. I mean, there's a lot to have from this text, but I'm just wondering that how Devahuti Mata would actually surrender, looking at the son she has raised as Supreme Personality of Godhead, and now she knows that he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Her husband has left, and now, although she knows that she has raised him, he's going to go away as well. And then she realized whatever is happening, she is losing it. I mean, although that realization, she's practically seeing that whatever she had, she loved most in her life, is now going away. Now, we are not in that situation because what we actually see that whatever we love sometimes going to stay with us, and it's very difficult to find a situation where we see we are losing the things. So she is into that situation, and in that situation, she is trying, although she is a really elevated soul, but this situation is what we will face as well eventually. So she's trying to inquire that when on our behalf, that when everything we love is getting lost, then what is the way forward? And what is the eternal? I can't understand it. It's all deluded. And then there's a concept of surrender that comes through, and then she inquires genuinely. And now the bhav is not like a mother and son. That's very important to understand. Is that now the relation, what dialogue is going on is although between a mother and son, but this is more between a guru and a surrendered soul or disciple. And never in entire discussion this was I was able to figure out that the early affection was shown anywhere, but the surrender is very important. So it's also very important to understand that when we inquire, we are submissive and reciprocal and able to take the instructions, and that's what a relationship between a guru and a disciple is. If a guru gives instruction and disciple doesn't take it, uh, obviously one can actually ask Gurudev to reduce instruction or basically to explain the instruction, but if he knowingly doesn't take that, then what I understand is scripturally is kind of guru droh, because you are not able to follow instruction of guru. So that's something is very important. But here it's been demonstrated that although a person might not be able to follow instruction, but they can ask again to explain it further, to make to so that they will be able to follow the instruction. This part is very important at the moment. Surrender and instruction been given. So I'll just present this part, otherwise it will go beyond what we are actually discussing at the moment. But Devahuti Mata again exemplifies the Arjun, and when Arjun surrenders to Lord Krishna, Devahuti Mata is surrendering to Lord Krishna, seeing that she is losing everything. Arjun was also losing everything, and in that battle, that's what he was perceiving. And same as with Devahuti Mata, when she is seeing that everything is going away. The daughters have gone away, husband has gone away. The son was there, that was actually perceived, actually was there, and he will be going away as well. So what is left now? So what will carry her away in our next life, and what instruction that could be given to the next generation? So with that mood, she is going to see the answers. I think that's where we have reached by now. So I'll just keep my discussion till that. Thank you, Vijay. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Yeah. he was happy that it's mentioned that he realized that it was a very uncontaminated inquiry, and he was happy to take the position of the Guru. As soon as she asked like a disciple, she asked, and he was happy to take that position. And she had realized, and he had realized that this is why this relationship was there, and this is why he stayed as well. He staying. He wasn't staying with her, but he was staying a little bit further away. But yes, this was the moment. We could say the climax. That this was the moment that he had taken the reincarnation. But when God comes, He doesn't just come for one person; He comes for everyone. So this inquiry benefits us all. And as you have mentioned, Prabhuji, that this situation is for everyone. We find, especially when we're in Krishna consciousness, that things tend to go away from us. Those attachments start breaking with friends, or at least old friends. We lose the old friends. We lose family ties as well, because over where we are in our position. We'll even lose taste for these things. We lose. And because as we try to get closer to Krishna, everything else seems to be left behind. It's all in the past distance. So when there's just you and there's Krishna, then what is your duty then? What do you do then? And because between you and Krishna, then there is just that knowledge. Once you inquire the knowledge and act upon it, and then, you will get the result. So it's very good that Devahuti Mataji realized this very quickly, and she's taking advantage of that. Thank you so much for mentioning. Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll do a couple of rounds now. Sureshi Mataji and Puri Mataji, is okay. Still the second round. Sureshi Mataji, are you ready for the first round? Hare Krishna. If you could unmute, please, Sureshi Mataji, I muted you. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Prabhuji, can I do it first? Because I need to go and, I need to go and see my mother-in-law.
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutle Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminit Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravana Picharane Nirvise Saswani Avadi Paschata Desatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaurav